Hello everyone! Welcome to video capsule number 5. Today we'll be talking about universal grammar according to Chomsky in 1965. This theory emerged from the fact that native speakers of a language end up with a highly complex and unconscious mental representations of language, despite the fact that certain properties of that language have not been included in the input. Therefore, there must be something inside us that provides that knowledge. The answer would be what Chomsky called universal grammar. This is a set of general principles that can be applied to any language grammar. This set is visualized as a part inside our brains, like mental organs similar to a heart or a liver. Universal grammar would be key to language development. Cook describes it as the growth of the mental organs triggered by certain language experiences to develop accordingly to the language the person is being exposed to. Nothing would keep a child from learning the language than the absence of input from the environment. Now, there are some questions regarding this explanation for language acquisition. For example, White says that if this learning is tied to language exposure, how come children and adults can comprehend, produce, and discriminate parts of the language they have never been exposed to? Or if language learning is tied to language exposure, how come that the competence of learners is so similar when they have had such different language experiences? This theory has also been related to SLA. The relative lack of success of L2 learners compared to L1 learners who have had access to universal grammar leads to the questioning of whether L2 learners' failure is tied to the inaccessibility to UG. It is said that if the input is insufficient to allow L2 learners to introduce the relevant properties of L2 grammar, then they could not be able to achieve full success. White says that we have two possible options. One, when we find a principle that works similarly in the L1 and L2, it can be accessed through the L1. But where L1 does not include such principles, it is not accessible in the L2. This scenario claims for the essential unavailability of UG. 2. If language learners fail to perform perfectly but nevertheless show greater than chance knowledge of a principle of UG, and if there is no other way they could have arrived to this knowledge, one must assume that the principle is in fact available. In the end, whether we develop a universal grammar as an organ inside our brains or not, and the existence of such as a key factor determining L2 acquisition success remains unproved. Thank you all for watching this video.